Welcome to Wonderslate. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. Topic for today's quiz is breathing and exchange of gases. Question number 1. Select the correct statement. Option A. Expiration occurs due to external intercostal muscles. Option B. Intrapulmonary pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure during inspiration. Option C. Inspiration occurs when atmospheric pressure is less than intrapulmonary pressure. Option D. Expiration is initiated due to contraction of diaphragm. The correct answer is Option B. Intrapulmonary pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure during inspiration. Statement B is correct as intrapulmonary pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure during inspiration. Other statements can be corrected as follows. Inspiration occurs due to external intercostal muscles. Inspiration occurs when atmospheric pressure is more than intrapulmonary pressure. Inspiration is initiated due to the contraction of diaphragm. Question number 2. Lungs do not collapse between breaths and some air always remains in the lungs which can never be expelled because Option A. There is a negative pressure in the lungs. Option B. There is a negative intrapleural pressure pulling at the lung walls. Option C. There is a positive intrapleural pressure. Option D. Pressure in the lungs is higher than the atmospheric pressure. The correct answer is Option B. There is a negative intrapleural pressure pulling at the lung walls. Lungs do not collapse between breath and some air always remains in the lungs which can be never expelled because there is a negative intrapleural pressure pulling at the lung walls. This pressure is always negative and acts like a suction to keep the lungs inflated and prevent them from collapsing. Since, in this question both options, A and B, are correct and option B provides more appropriate explanation, therefore, it must be chosen. Question number 3. When you hold your breath, which of the following gas changes in blood would first lead to the urge to breathe? Option A. Falling O2 concentration. Option B. Rising CO2 concentration. Option C. Falling CO2 concentration. Option D. Rising CO2 and falling O2 concentration. The correct answer is Option B. Rising CO2 concentration. When we hold our breath, CO2 concentration rises and accumulates in blood and lungs, triggering impulses from respiratory center part of brain. The body has the ability to detect rising CO2 levels and send signals to take a breath to compensate the lowering levels of O2 in blood and lungs. Gases diffuse from air to blood passively, i.e. from high concentration to low concentration. Question number 4. To generate pressure gradients to facilitate expiration and inspiration, the human body uses the intercostal muscles and Option A. Alveolar sac. Option B. Bronchi. Option C. Primary, secondary and tertiary bronchioles. Option D. Diaphragm. Option E. Windpipe. The correct answer is Option D. Diaphragm. To generate pressure gradients in order to facilitate expiration and inspiration, the human body uses the intercostal muscles and diaphragm. When we breathe in or inhale, the diaphragm contracts, tightens, and moves downward. This increases the space in our chest cavity, into which lungs expand. The intercostal muscles between our ribs also help to enlarge the chest cavity and create pressure gradient. When we exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward to retain its normal shape, and the intercostal muscles also relaxes, which leads the ribs and rib cage downwards and inwards respectively, reducing thoracic volume. Question number 5. The process of exchange of O2 from the atmosphere with CO2 produced by the cells is called Option A. Biological respiration. Option B. Photosynthesis. Option C. Biological assimilations. Option D. Gaseous exchange. The correct answer is Option D. Gaseous exchange. The process of exchange of O2 from the atmosphere with CO2 produced by cells is called as gaseous exchange. It occurs in two steps, i.e. between alveoli and blood, external respiration, between blood and tissue cells, internal respiration. On the other hand, biological respiration is exchange of gases along with the oxidation of food. Photosynthesis is the process of the formation of food by the plants in the presence of sunlight. Biological assimilation is the absorption and distribution of nutrients to the cells for their growth and repair. Question number 6. During inspiration, the diaphragm, option A, expands. Option B, shows no change. Option C, contracts and flattens. Option D, relaxes to become dome-shaped. The correct answer is option C, contracts and flattens. During inspiration, diaphragm becomes flat due to the contraction of intercostal muscles, whereas during expiration, it becomes relaxed. In normal condition, diaphragm is dome-shaped. To generate pressure gradients in order to facilitate expiration and inspiration, the human body uses the intercostal muscles and diaphragm. When we breathe in or inhale, the diaphragm contracts, tightens, and moves downward. This increases the space in our chest cavity, into which lungs expand. The intercostal muscles between our ribs also help to enlarge the chest cavity and create pressure gradient. When we exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upward to retain its normal shape, and the intercostal muscles also relaxes, which leads the ribs and rib cage downwards and inwards respectively, reducing thoracic volume. Question number 7. Skin is an accessory organ of respiration in option A, human. Option B, frog. Option C, rabbit. Option D, lizard. The correct answer is option B, frog. Skin is an accessory organ of respiration in frogs. It helps in performing cutaneous respiration. The primary organ of respiration in frog is lungs, i.e. pulmonary respiration. Question number 8. The volume of anatomical dead space air is normally option A, 230 milliliters. Option B, 210 milliliters. Option C, 190 milliliters. Option D, 150 milliliters. The correct answer is option D, 150 milliliters. The volume of air from nostril to terminal bronchiole, which is not taking part in exchange of gases, is known as anatomical dead space. Normally, the volume of anatomical dead space air is about 150 milliliters. Question number 9. If a large number of people are enclosed in a room, then option A, oxygen decreases and carbon dioxide increases. Option B, oxygen increases and carbon dioxide decreases. Option C, both oxygen and carbon dioxide decrease. Option D, both oxygen and carbon dioxide increase. The correct answer is option A, oxygen decreases and carbon dioxide increases. If a large number of people are enclosed in a room, the O2 available in the room is utilized at faster rate, thus its level decreases. Due to increased yield of CO2 released as a result of respiration, its level increases in the room. Question number 10. The factor which does not affect the rate of alveolar diffusion is option A, solubility of gases. Option B, thickness of the membranes. Option C, pressure gradient. Option D, concentration gradient. Option E, reactivity of the gases. The correct answer is option D, concentration gradient. Reactivity of the gases does not affect the rate of alveolar diffusion. Solubility of the gases, thickness of the membranes involved in diffusion, pressure gradient and concentration gradient are some important factors that can affect the rate of alveolar diffusion. Question number 11. Among other gases, CO2 in expired air is about option A, 0.04%. Option B, 0.03%. Option C, 4.5%. Option D, 2.1%. The correct answer is option C, 4.5%. The air we breathe in contains about 0.05% CO2, while air exhaled out contains about 4% CO2. Thus, the exhaled air contains about 100 times the concentration of CO2 than inhaled air, which is approximated at 4.5%. Question number 12. Hiccups can be best described as option A, forceful sudden expiration. Option B, jerky incomplete inspiration. Option C, vibration of the soft palate during breathing. Option D, sign of indigestion. The correct answer is option B, jerky incomplete inspiration. Hiccups can be best described as a jerky incomplete inspiration. It is an involuntary contraction of the diaphragm that may repeat several times per minute. In medical terms, it is known as synchronous diaphragmatic flutter. Question number 13. Which two of the following changes, I4, usually tend to occur in the plain dwellers when they move to high altitudes, 3,500 meters or more? I. Increase in red blood cell size. 2. Increase in red blood cell production. 3. Increased breathing rate. 4. Increase in thrombocyte count. Changes occurring are option A, 2 and 3, option B, 3 and 4, option C, 1 and 4, option D, 1 and 2. The correct answer is option A, 2 and 3. When a person moves to high altitudes, 3,500 meters or more, an increase in red blood cell production and breathing rate is observed. This happens due to the fact that at high altitude, affinity for O2 and total atmospheric pressure decrease, which causes hypoxia, decrease in O2 level in body. In order to cure hypoxia, body increases erythropoiesis, i.e. RBC production and the breathing rate. Question number 14. In which of the following the dead space is highest? Option A, old man. Option B, old woman. Option C, young man. Option D, young woman. The correct answer is option A, old man. Dead space is the volume of air which is inhaled but does not take part in the gaseous exchange, and it is highest in old man. There are different types of dead space like anatomical dead space, physiological dead space, alveolar dead space and apparatus dead space. In old man, there is low supply of blood to lungs and hence, they have high dead space. Question number 15. When carbon dioxide concentration in blood increases, breathing becomes option A, shallow and slow. Option B, there is no effect on breathing. Option C, slow and deep. Option D, faster and deeper. The correct answer is option D, faster and deeper. When carbon dioxide concentration in blood increases, breathing becomes faster and deeper. This is because the body will compensate for the accumulation of CO2 by increasing breathing to aid in the removal of the CO2. The faster and deeper is the breathe, the greater is the air exchange happening in the lungs and leads to increase in the rate of oxygen uptake by blood and washout of carbon dioxide. Thank you for watching the video. If you'd like practice this quiz, then download the Wonderslate app now. Link in the description below. If you have any suggestion for us, feel free to leave comments. If you liked the video and want to see more of it, hit the thumbs up and don't forget to click on subscribe button to get more updates of the future videos.